Hello, we are back with another episode of the How Do I Do This podcast. And I'm so excited because we have another amazing guest with us today. So we have Chris Smoot and co, our boy Roddy, right? They are here from Memory Lane. And so we're going to be talking all things business, all things entrepreneurship, because we know the premise of this podcast and the purpose is always to let you know how other people are doing it, what they're thinking about, the risks they're taking, and to really give you behind the scenes insight into what they're doing to manage their spaces, their businesses, and themselves as they navigate this new world. So one of the reasons I was really excited about interviewing Chris is because he owns a company called Memory Lane. He has multiple locations, and I think he's just doing some dope stuff, and y'all need to know about dope individuals. So, Chris, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being on the podcast. So, Chris has already let me know, like, he's like, listen, I don't be doing all that talking. So, y'all, I'm going to be pulling all different types of stuff out of him, and they'll be acting funny.
Sounds good.
Okay. You see? We already started. And, Rod, could you introduce yourself?
Hey, how you guys doing? My name is Rodney, but I go by Roddy. I work at Memory Lane. Chris is my guy. The whole Memory Lane crew.
I love that. Gang. All right. I love this silent camaraderie. And so it's really cool too, because one of the things that we're going to also talk about is we have the founder, right? But then also he's like, hey, I appreciate my team and they really manage the day to day. So he wanted to be super intentional about ensuring that somebody from his team could talk to us about operations day to day, building the culture and maintaining the vision of what someone has built. So I think that's dope too. So that just says a lot about your leadership and what you think about the people who help you get it done. So I'm excited. So let's jump in. One of the things I always like to do is to talk about how you guys started. So I know a little bit about your story, but I want you to share with people. So you're in college. Mm-hmm. You're going to UA.
Right.
Okay.
Roll Tide.
Okay. All right. Roll Tide. Mm-hmm. Right. TU. All right. So I'm sorry I had to do it. It's cool. I know. So you're going to UA, and what are you majoring in?
Fashion design.
Okay, so wait, pause.
Design, yeah.
How did you, because most of the time when people start, we undecided, right? We undecided, we doing.
You don't know that.
We doing engineering. We like whatever mom and daddy say is going to make the most cash, we just start that. So how did you even know going into UA that you wanted to go into that major? Like, where was your interest? How did you get there?
That's crazy you even asked that. I started out at UAH in Huntsville.
Okay.
For 2 years. Those whole entire 2 years, I was undecided.
Okay, so you
2 years.
So you did start that way. Okay.
I didn't choose a major until my advisor sat me down. It was like I took every I forgot what it's called.
You took every class that was possible in undecided major.
Right.
They said it is now time to choose, brother.
Prereqs, yeah.
Yeah.
And I chose I think marketing, and that was like too much math or something, so I changed that after a semester and chose something else, changed that. Then I transferred to UA, and it was either shoe design or clothing design.
That's dope.
But they didn't have shoe design. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you were undecided all those times. You're like, listen, I tried this, I tried that. But what made you choose that, though? Like, had you always been into fashion? Had there always been something that caught your eye?
I was always into, like, streetwear fashion, like, back in the day, LRG.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff like that. Like Rockaware. I was big in Rockaware.
Yes, Fubu. I was Fubu. I was gonna ask you what year you was born, but then I don't want to date myself.
94.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's all good. But,
in the 80s.
Yeah, but I didn't get into like fashion until my senior year of high school for real, because I won best dress.
Okay.
I didn't see how, because we had uniforms.
I mean, so you must have been like really turning your uniform out. Like, were you like cutting it up? Were you dyeing the khakis? What were you doing?
I was wearing like Jordan uniform shirts or Rockaware, like I said, uniform khakis and stuff like that. But my two best friends were wearing polo school shirts and school pants and stuff like that. So I felt they should have won. But I think what stood out was my shoe decision, because I always wear different pair of shoes.
But then too, low key fashion, like you can see people that have nice things.
But the way
fashion is all about like how you wear, like how you show up. You know what I'm saying? Like even the day when you first walked in, I'm like, okay, you swaggy. First of all, don't even try to stun on me like that. You know what I'm saying?
It's like
it's a light day. You see what I'm saying? Like, but sometimes it's just really how you show up. It's really like how you feel, you know what I'm saying, and yourself. So, okay, so you were undecided, but you always kind of had a thing for fashion in some way. And you got to UA, you're like, okay, bet, I'm going to major in this. Mm-hmm. So you're going through the program, you're learning, and then so you got there, what year were you in when you got there?
I was a sophomore heading to my junior.
Okay, so you have about a year and a half, 2 years left at UA. And then you get into a study abroad program.
Yeah, my senior year. Yeah.
Senior year. Okay, so tell us about this study abroad program, because this study abroad program is really kind of what introduced you to the concept of memory lane.
The concept of being an entrepreneur in general. Yeah.
Okay, dope. So tell us about this.
So, how it started, I was supposed to find an internship.
Okay.
For my last semester of college. But I was the only person in my whole college who couldn't find one.
Okay.
Because I was talking to different companies, but they were saying I didn't have enough experience.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, how am I supposed to get experience if
college,
nobody gonna give me some, You know what
I'm saying?
So then I found out that my college was doing that trip. It's every other year. It's not every year, every other year. And it fell on my senior year. So I told my mom and stuff, and we made it work. And I was able to go. And we went to New York for a week and a half. Then we went to Paris for a week. Then London for a week. Then Milan for the last week.
Dope. Okay, so you was out here, you know what I'm saying, country hopping, stay hopping, all that. And so then you get to, is it Paris?
London.
You get to London. Yeah. You get to London, and what do you see in London?
Well, no, it was Paris.
It's Paris.
It was Paris.
I know I've been doing my research.
Right, my bad.
You know what I'm saying? You get to Paris, and then what do you see in Paris?
So it's so crazy, too, because I didn't really even like Paris like that. I didn't really enjoy it because I had this whole other, image of it in my mind, but when I got there, it wasn't like that. It was people. It's like going to ATL. It's like people trying to scam you or sell you stuff on the street, right by the Eiffel Tower and stuff like that. So on the second to last day, I found this city where they had a Supreme store and had shoe stores and stuff like that. I'm like, man, I've been here a week and they know nothing about this. I would have been over here. So I've seen this it was a shoe store, but it was a 3-story shoe store. And I ain't never seen it like that. It was older Jordans and autographed jerseys and stuff like that. I'm like, man, this is super tight. But on that type of level, I didn't think I was able to do something like that until I got to London and I saw a smaller one, and it was teenagers running it, and people were coming in selling shoes and trading shoes and stuff like that. And it was a small building, but I'm like, man, this is cool. This would be so tight to have back home.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I still didn't think that I would do something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. Until I got back from the trip.
Okay, bet. So let's go back a little bit, because one of the things I do want to kind of pull out some is it's okay, when you first got started, we talking about just teenager, young adult. It was I don't really know what it's going to look like. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. Yeah. And I think sometimes people feel like they have to have it all figured out. Most of the people that are doing things, they assume that they've always known that that's what they wanted to do.
Yeah, I doubt that's factual.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But sometimes that'll stop people from getting started because well, I don't know what I want to do. So, and then instead of continuing to try and figure it out, we just kind of settle into whatever. Yeah. You know, and one thing I can appreciate about you is hey, I tried marketing. I ain't like it. I tried this. I ain't like it. But sometimes we'll try it and we'll just get stuck in it because we're well, okay. And then we find ourselves moving through life doing things that we don't want to do.
We get to the end and just a bunch of regret and
you know what I'm saying? And so I think it's important to also give yourself the opportunity to keep trying different things until you figure out what you want to do. Sure. You know what I mean? And don't be afraid to put something down and change your mind. I say all the time,
don't be afraid to fail either. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't be afraid to fail, or don't be afraid to change. I don't want to do it no more.
Right.
And what? You know what I'm saying?
I always hate it when people get mad at someone for changing. I can see if they change for the worse, but they're not the same person they used to be. They don't go out as much no more, or they don't just do stuff that they used to do. But it's they're evolving, they're growing as a person. It's if they stay the same, they're gonna be in the same spot. They're not getting any better, in my opinion.
Right.
So,
and it's like you would want people to change. And we're going to jump into that too, because there's this other side of once you get started, once you start doing things, entrepreneurship, small business ownership, it requires something different from you. Mm. Like you can't be the same person that you were when you started, because you have other people to lead. You have teams, you have inventory, you got overhead, right? Mm. So, okay, so I just wanted to pull that out. Like, I appreciate the fact that you kept trying things until you figured out what you wanted. So you went on this trip. Mm. You said Paris was like Atlanta, full of scammers. He said it, I didn't. And then, you know what I'm saying?
And then the language barrier. No one spoke English. And like the train system that we took wasn't in English. So I'm like, man.
Okay, let's pause. This is so outside of what we talk about. Americans, anytime we go out the country, people are not going to speak English. We're the only people who go to somebody else's country and be like, why you don't speak English? At least
have some words in English or something. Like, I'm getting on trains.
Tell me this.
Tell me this.
Tell me this, because they so disrespectful to you in their country, right? Tell me this. When you go to Publix, do you see the instructions in Russian, Spanish, and Chinese? Absolutely not. Like, Americans are the only people that... We are very entitled. Like, I've been to other countries and like people get so upset because it's like, y'all ain't got no menus in English. It's like, no, nigga, you're in Italy. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is my country. Like, Americans be so mad. You did. Don't make me go off on you. He didn't like Paris because they ain't have nothing English.
That ain't the reason why, but it added to it. I ain't gonna lie. You know?
I love us, for real, in my Monique voice.
And then I was the only dude on the trip. It was me, one black girl, and like 20 white girls.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the demographics was a little different. But the most important thing is that you went and saw something that you never saw before. Right. And it completely changed the trajectory of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got back and you saw something dope in Paris. You saw something really amazing in London. And so this is your senior year. Mm. Okay, so you were like, so most of the time you have to kind of write this paper, do all that, but you proposed something different to like your school, your professors, your advisors. You said, listen, can I get the credits I need if my senior year I choose to start a business instead?
Yeah, right.
Who does that?
I don't know. I just had the balls to do it, I guess. But like I said, everybody in my field had an internship, but it was mainly girls. It was me and like 2 other dudes in the whole field.
Gotcha.
But I couldn't find one, so I went to him and was like, "Look, I can't find one, and the school is going to start in like 2 months. So if I can start my own business by the time the semester ends, can that count as a grade or like same thing as an internship?" And he was like, "If I can have it open by then yeah."
So, you need some credits for this internship. You can't find one. You like, listen, I ain't finding no internship. I'm about to stress myself out. But I think I have a concept that I can launch. So, can I graduate, have the credits I need if instead I could just start my own business at the same time that I'm going through my senior year and have it open by the time I graduate?
Right.
I love that audacity for you.
Hey. Gotta do what you gotta do.
But it worked out, right? Yeah. So that's another kind of characteristic and principle. I think that's important to highlight, that you have to be creative. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And not take no for an answer. You know, so it's like, okay, bet. Because you could have been like, yo, I can't find an internship, so what am I gonna do? And then just went to them with that. But you came to them with a solution.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think stuff like that always is like a foreshadowing into what we need to be successful business owners, which is audacity and which is being a problem solver.
Right.
You didn't take a problem to him and just leave the problem on the table. You had a problem and you came to him with the solution. And the solution is what I want to do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like sometimes people get distracted because somebody will like tell them no, or there'll be some type of resistance and they'll just like let that be what it's gonna be. And you like, no. What we gonna do is what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not coming to you like, so I just think that's important to know. So you say, okay, bet, like, let me start a business. And if I can start a business by the time I graduate, then let me about this thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it worked out, obviously. So what did you do? But I mean, okay. So did you open a physical location by the time you graduated? Yeah. Was it just having an LLC? So what was that process?
So the first store opened 2 weeks before I graduated. Like, I had to close down on a Saturday to go to graduation. Yeah.
I am on the floor, not literally, but I am figuratively. It's hilarious. So you like bet. So all through senior year, you're building this business.
I had. It was my last semester, so I had from June, July, and we opened in December. So
okay, so you had from July to December. Mm-hmm. Leave me alone. So you had from July to December to open this business. Mm-hmm. And you got it open 2 weeks before graduation. Mm-hmm. You closed it down on that Saturday so you could actually walk across the stage.
Correct.
Come on. Bring it in. All right. So let's talk about what you had to do to actually open, though.
Right. So after the study abroad trip, when I got back, I still wasn't thinking about doing my own thing. I was thinking about how can I find an internship. Mm-hmm. And it so happens that my mom has her own store across the street from my store that I have now.
Okay.
I was in her store one day, just in there like bored because it was summertime. Mm-hmm. And I looked across the street and seen a for rent sign. And I just went over there and looked in, and it happened to be an old empty shoe store.
Get out of my face.
And then the first thing in my mind was like that store I saw in London. I'm like, man, this would be cool to have like down here. But I was a broke college student.
Right.
So I'm thinking the rent price was going to be outrageous. But when I called him, he said something that was so obtainable. I'm like, man, I can make this work somehow. And then it just so happened that last refund check we get,
Yes.
I got like 8 racks.
I mean, yeah, this like, I'm rich.
I ain't gonna lie, like my first, probably like 2 to 3 years of college, first 2 weeks, that's blow.
Listen, BMF. Blow. We out of here, baby.
That's blow. I'm balling.
BMF.
But that one, I'm like, man, this perfect. I'm finna use this to put towards this. And I called him. He told me the price. I was like, bet. Mm-hmm. I'm interested. Then he showed it to me, signed the lease, got the refund check, and took off from there. Started buying inventory and everything set up.
All right, so let's dig into the numbers. Mm-hmm. All right, let's dig into the numbers. So and I have a similar story, and most of the people I talk to is very similar. Like, if you think of something that you want, the next step is just begin to do whatever you need to do to get that thing.
Lay it out step by step.
You know what I'm saying? And I think sometimes, like, we take too much time vacillating. Like, oh, well, maybe I could, but it's like, you like, hey, I think I want to open a shoe store. Oh, snap, they're going building. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like, your thought didn't stop with, I'm a broke college student. Your thought was like, I'm a broke college student, but what they got to do with anything? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think sometimes we stop ourselves, we stop our thoughts at the moment of our limitations.
Thanks.
So, I want a building, but how am I going to do that?
How you going to afford it?
So I guess I can't do it. You know what I mean? So even with the space we're in, I seen this building plenty of times. I was like, man, I want that building. It's dope. Mm-hmm. So before I had any money, I called and toured the building. And I tell people all the time, I was in this building for like 3 days a week. I ain't signed no lease. I had people coming here measuring stuff, looking at how much it was going to take. They like, right? I had people coming here giving me all type of quotes. Ain't signed no lease, no deposit. This man is like, ma'am.
That's dope.
Yeah, what do you want from me? I'm like, I'm getting ready for my stuff. What are you talking about? I need to be prepared. Right. So, okay, let's jump into the numbers. So you look across the street, you see the building, you like, bet, I ain't got no money, but I'm going to call anyway. Because the least I could do is just find out.
Yeah, I mean, if it was like $5,000 a month, then I'm like, okay, well, this not going to work. At least not right now, yeah.
And so we don't even ask, we won't even get far enough to figure out if it's possible.
No,
we just
talk ourselves out of it all the time.
The whole time.
Or we ask somebody we know who don't really have our same intuition, and they talk us out of it.
That part. Yeah. Okay. So you call him, how much did he say was the rent?
$700.
You like, let's go.
For like a 2,500 building.
A 2,500 square foot building. Already built as a shoe store. Mm-hmm. Now, I am a person who has a very strong faith life. Stuff like that for me is just always a sign that, like, God is looking out.
Right. I say the same thing.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, bet, I want to have a shoe store, bet it's one across the street for $700. Now, after I've shown you that, the question is what you going to do? So you like, okay, bet. All right, $700. I can figure that out. Now, where do I get the money from? We're talking about creative funding. Mm-hmm. It's like, hello, government. You're going to charge me for this money anyway to be in debt. I might as well use it to figure out how I can get what I want. So you take the refund check and you flip it.
Yeah. It was like he was kind of meet me halfway. He was showing me everything. He was giving it to me. but he gave me the refund check, but he was testing me like, am I going to blow it or am I going to do the right thing? And, you know, he was right. And, yeah.
Okay. So you get that. So there's the rent you got to pay. You got to get
the down payment. The same thing as the rent. So
right. Double. So you got to get $1,400.
Yep.
Okay. So you got to get the
lights turned on.
The lights turned on, all the utilities. So, and there's a different cost when you're getting utilities turned on for a actual commercial space. Right. So even when I was turning my utility bills on, I'm like, what y'all need a $900 deposit for? It's power, you know. But it was different because it's commercial. So you got to turn on all utilities. You got to get insurance.
Yep.
You got to get insurance.
All type of licenses and stuff like that. I had no idea. I'm thinking blindly because I didn't have any business background knowledge. I'm thinking I'm just gonna get the building, pay the first month rent, not no deposit. I didn't know about that either because I didn't have an apartment. I still stayed with my uncle.
Okay.
So pay the first month rent and then just open from there.
Put the shoes on the wall. Here we go, baby. You gonna give me this money? Okay.
So I signed the lease in like July. I wasn't able to open till December, so that gives you a timeline on.
Okay. What all the steps that it took. So you're doing all of that. You have to, I mean, it's already built as a shoe store, but I'm sure there were a few modifications you had to make to the space.
Good amount, eh?
Okay. And then you had to think about, okay, I got to get inventory. So how did you determine, like, okay, how many shoes am I going to start with? Like, is it how much I can afford? Because you also had, like, vintage clothing, right? Or so you got vintage clothing, you got shoes. How did you determine, based on this $8,000, we could just say half of it's gone, getting all the building, all the licenses, insurance. Right. So how did you determine, like, okay, how much inventory I need, and then where did you go to get it?
So really, like you said, how much I can afford. I kind of started off on the wrong foot. I started out buying inventory when I even came across the idea. Like, before I even signed the lease, I was buying inventory. So by the time I had to start getting like the licenses and stuff like that, it was running low. But I was buying inventory from my friends, online, from myself, because I always had like a decent shoe collection. Okay. So I was taking my own stuff and putting it to the side for that. Yeah, just any way I can, for real.
Yeah. Okay. So one, you had to figure out how to manage this money right. Because this $8,000 was your startup cost. Right. And you had to get to the finish line. Because also, if you blew this money, you also weren't going to graduate from college.
Probably so.
Right? So it's like, I'm going to blow this refund check. I got this. And I put my name on this lease. And most of the time when you do commercial leases, it's about 5 years. You know, like sometimes you can negotiate 3 to 5 years, but most of the time it's about 5 years, right? So now how old were you your senior year?
23.
So you put your
22 going into 23.
Okay, so you put yourself on the line for a 5-year lease.
How much? Actually 2 years.
Okay. Okay. He liked you. Okay.
He's old too.
Okay. He's still alive. He's still with us, right?
He died recently. Like
R.I.P. Thank you.
He was like in his 90s, but he was still driving, like
kicking it.
Fancy car, still mowing his grass.
Man, shout out, man. We appreciate you for everything you sold into, man.
Bob Fowles for the chance he gave me.
Bob. Yeah. Okay. So you got a 2-year lease. So you put yourself on the line for 2 years. You got to make sure you manage this $8,000 refund startup cost, because if you're not, you're gonna blow it. He gonna take you to court, and then you're not gonna graduate from college. Yeah. So there's this certain level. I said this before. Like there's this certain level of like delusion may not be the right word, but there's this certain level of like just acting like everything is not as crazy as it seems. For you to keep going.
That's the right word, though, because I didn't even think nothing about none of that. I just think about how can I make this happen. Not if I don't make it happen, what's going to happen.
I love that. Yeah. So one of my mentors in my head, Dame Dash, he says that you out with Dame? Yeah, Dame. We love Dame. Dame, how are you? Just want you to know we're friends. So one thing he always talks about, he's like, I don't spend my time thinking about the negative stuff, like what could go wrong. I spend all my time thinking about why it's going to work. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's something that's important for us as entrepreneurs. Like, because literally, if you would have took your time thinking about what I just said, you may have not done it. Or you probably would have waited and been like, maybe I should wait. Or, you know what I'm saying? So as entrepreneurs, small business owners, creators, innovators, like our job is not to think about all the things that could go wrong. Right. Our job is to think about everything that could go right once I get this idea out of my head and into the world. You know what I'm saying? So July to December, you get the store launched. You did it. You go to graduation.
Mm-hmm.
Now you got to make some money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what was the marketing plan? Like, how did the people already know you for kind of being in shoes, being in fashion? How did you get people to the doors?
So I was known for two things growing up, either shoes or basketball. So people knew me from having all type of shoes and stuff. So word of mouth, and then Instagram came out. I feel old saying this. It came out when I was
you were born in 94.
A senior in high school.
Mm-hmm.
Like it came out when I was a senior in high school.
I was well into college. You're not old. Don't do that.
Yeah, but so Instagram, I was posting about it as well too. Yeah.
Okay, so you open the doors, and it's your first day, like sell out, smash. You're like, oh, thank you, God, I made all my $8,000 back. Well, it's not really yours, it's the government's, but you know what I'm saying. Like, what was that? What was that first weekend kind of day opening? Did it exceed your expectations, or did you have to keep yourself encouraged because it was like an uphill battle?
Nah, it was a great day for me. I made like $3,000, and I thought I was like balling. Like that was like, you know what I'm saying, like outstanding.
Yeah.
But then the next day, it wasn't.
It wasn't the same.
Story.
Yeah. Okay. So how long has your company been open now?
It'll be 6 years this December.
Congratulations. That's a big deal.
Thank you.
Because there are statistics, we don't care about statistics, to be honest with you, but there are statistics around like most businesses 5 years, you know what I'm saying? So congratulations. And not only in that 6 years have you started that one store, because you started in Bessemer, right? Is that store still there?
Yep.
Okay. So then you opened the second location in Birmingham.
In Georgia. Don't
play with him. Okay? Don't play with him. So you went from Bessemer to Georgia. We're at in Georgia, so the people know. Douglasville. Oh, but listen, don't speed through Douglasville because you're going to jail, my boy. Okay? So you went from, that, them Douglasville police don't play, baby. No. So we went from Bessemer to Douglasville, and your third location, because he's not to be played with, is in Birmingham. Okay. So talk us through that process. And then we're going to also bring Roddy to the conversation around like the operational side, different things of that nature. But I want to know the process because you scaled the company, which is a big deal. Like I'm sure you don't strike me as the type of person that sleeps on yourself, but just in case, I just want you to know that's a big deal in 6 years to scale your company to 3 locations in 2 different states. Right? So what is that process like? So how do you know? Because I think most people don't know when they have enough cash flow to open another location, understanding the demand. But then when we talk about scaling, there's always the conversation around building teams. Who's going to run these different things? And people always talk about like, this is my baby. I feel like I'm the only one who can work. Okay, well, be tied then.
That's a thing.
That's a thing.
That's a thing, yeah.
But be tied.
Yeah, because I had that for a minute. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you got out of it, because there's the thing of like you got 3 different locations. You have to be confident in your team and your systems that your store in Douglasville, in Bessemer, and in Birmingham can run effectively without you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So what was that process like? How did you know once you were in Bessemer that you were at a place to where you could open another location? And why Douglasville? Because I know that there's a certain level of market research to know where to go next and where your demand is coming from.
So I'm going to take you back to before I even opened. So the 8,000 was getting low after, because every time I did something, I got a license, I needed something else. I needed fire extinguisher. I needed the roof fixed.
It's always an expense.
I needed the AC fixed, stuff like that. So after a while, it ran out. I ain't going to lie. So then I'm thinking like, okay, so now I need some more money to make stuff happen. So then I had to do it. I started selling my shoe collection one by one, and it hurt so bad. Oh man, it hurt. I was selling stuff that was so hard to get.
Oof.
Yeah, but I was selling it to this guy who I found from my brother. He was selling him shoes. He had a online subscription-based site. So people had to subscribe to his site in order to buy shoes for good prices. Yeah, so it was a great idea. Like, he was making money without selling shoes because of the subscriptions. So I reached out to him, met him, was selling him stuff, and every time another bill came up, sold him some more stuff. And after a while, he asked me, like, because I was selling him stuff.
He like, bruh, what is going on?
Stuff he couldn't find, like stuff that didn't come out of Alabama, stuff that was super hard to get. And he asked me like, why I was doing all this. I was telling him I'm trying to open up a store. And he was like, bet, let him know when I open it and he'll pull up. So he came to grand opening and he bought pretty much over half my inventory.
Oh man, shout out.
I mean, I didn't have nothing but like 50 pair of shoes to start off with, but
so he bought 25 pairs. Who goes to the store about 25 pairs of shoes? You saying like that's a light day?
He cashed out for sure. And then, like you said, it was a lot of long days. Some days we'll probably sell one thing. Some days no things. Some day I ain't gonna lie. One day I was in there falling asleep, and the customer came and like tapped me and asked for help. I'm like, yeah, but because I was the only one there working, open to close 6 days a week, and then on my off day, I drive back to Tuscaloosa to work at Foot Locker.
So wait a minute now.
So for 5 months straight, I was working 7 days a week.
Wait, pause, because I ain't catch that.
Yeah.
So you're running Memory Lane in Bessemer and working at Foot Locker. How, Sway?
I didn't even really, not saying no, I was working 7 days a week, but I didn't even think about it because I was just so into it and so focused on the end goal that I just...
Okay, and give us some context. What's the drive from Bessemer to Tuscaloosa?
40 minutes.
Okay.
Around 40 minutes, yeah. So
you work in Memory Lane. You your only employee. Selling shoes. And then you leave there, close, lock up, turn the alarm on, because you got to protect the merchandise.
Right.
And you drive 40 minutes to go work at Foot Locker.
Every Monday, yep.
Because when you first open, you can't pay yourself.
Right. I was working at Foot Locker all throughout college from like 2013, 2014.
Did they know you had your own shoe store?
I told my boss when I signed the lease, and she actually was like happy for me, and she came to the store once it opened. And I told my district manager, and he was happy for me too. He even,
I mean, yeah, because they don't own Foot Locker, they ain't losing out on it.
He even brought all the store managers from other Foot Lockers around.
Oh, that's dope.
To my store.
Okay, that's dope. So this is man, that's a lot.
But yeah, I was doing that for the first 5 months, and then
that's why you wake up in the afternoons now, because you can, huh?
Yeah, like everybody know that. Like he probably even know that. Yeah,
He's like, listen, I don't pay my dues, but I don't stay. I'm tired. Okay.
For real. But so then I'd say like the last week of every month, the guy who had the site who I was selling shoes to, it was a sign from God, I guess, because he probably knew I was struggling, so he'd come like towards the end of every month, like because the next week rent was due. He'd come and buy a bunch of inventory then.
That's dope.
I was able to make rent every month. Then after a while, it was we started getting not really bigger, but people start hearing about us because we bought shoes.
Yeah.
And you know, if you ever need money, then that's like a fast way to make money. So people were bringing in shoes, and I couldn't afford all of them.
Yeah.
So instead of just passing on all of them, I call him and be like, "Hey, this person got this and this. Do you need it?"
Yeah.
And he'll either send me some money to get it, or he'll come and stay for like a few hours and buy shoes and stuff, and then he'll like give me something on the side. That's for doing.
Okay, so that's dope. So this person who's extremely supportive, end up becoming one of your business partners.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. My only business partner.
To this day.
Yeah.
To this day. That's amazing. So then together, and it's cool because it was somebody who had a knowledge of the business already. Okay, because sometimes we want to bring people in who don't know nothing about it, but we care about them. They're cool. They're friends. Yeah. But this is a person who once showed you he was willing to support, not only with his words, but with financial support by being a customer of your business and a supporter. But then also he had knowledge, industry knowledge about what you were particularly doing. So it made for a great partnership.
Right.
So together y'all scale the company to multiple locations. So when did you know, after you guys got stable and it's your first location, when did you know it was time to go to another one?
So after 5 months of being by myself, I approached him with the idea of like joining up, since he was coming pretty much every other day to buy shoes and stuff. And and I approached him with the idea of joining up. And I ain't gonna lie, at first he said, he didn't tell me no, but I talked to him like some years later about it, and he remembered, like in his mind, he was like, nah, he ain't doing that. But I called him, and we talked for like probably like 30 seconds. He was like, he'll think about it. And he called me back probably like 2 minutes later. It was like, he'll do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he said he thought about it. Then he called his best friend. He was like, yeah, that's a great idea. So after that, we took off. We got more inventory in, and people started finding out about us. And we took off. And then when COVID happened, we had to close down physically. But it gave us the chance to start our website.
Online.
Yeah, and so we still were buying shoes. We were taking appointments, and people would come in and sell us shoes. And it got to a point where we had more inventory in the back than we had like on the floor.
Oh, wow. And
his friend in Georgia lost his job, and he told him about the city, which is Douglasville, that didn't have a shoe store, and it was like, it's a perfect spot. And he told me about it. I was like, man, that's perfect, because we got shoes just to put in there. Like, instead of having to buy inventory, we already had inventory. Yeah,
got it.
And that's how we Googled people who can help find us places in Georgia. Google places in Georgia, toured them the next week, and we signed the lease like around the same time.
That's dope. So somebody was like, hey, I know the next market for you, but there are no shoe stores, so you can really come in and kind of monopolize in a way in this market. And it's like, bet, because I got too many shoes anyway. I need somewhere else to put these bad boys. Right. And where better to go than somewhere where there is a demand for it. So it was just the next right move. So you saw where there was an opportunity for your business to be the highest in demand in a place.
Right.
So when like, oh, well, I don't care what you're talking about, I want to go to Atlanta. It's like, no, I'm going to where the demand is there, and we know that we have a customer base. That's dope. Okay, so when you're going to these different locations and you're opening up, at this point, is all of this self-funded? Did you have to go get capital? Did you have to leverage business credit? Or were you able to just take the cash flow, manage it well? Or was it kind of the partnership where there was support there?
Everything so far has been self-funded with me and him, me and the other
Dope.
team. Yeah.
Dope. I love that. Because there's this large conversation around funding for Black businesses, and people
hard to get. Yeah.
It's hard to get. You know, even though right now there's more people saying that they're open to it, it still is a challenge to get. People need operational capital. So, okay. So we got those locations. Big deal. Amazing. I just want to say that's amazing. I don't want you to sleep on yourself. It's a big deal. So you got these 3 locations, but you got to get people to work. How did you go about finding people? Did you use a HR company? Was it like, hey, we on Craigslist? Well, people don't use Craigslist, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, we on Indeed. Like, how did you go about getting a team of people to work in these different locations?
So at our first store, before the second store even came about, each summer our high school would give us 2 students to work for us, like not an internship, but something like that. But and the city would pay them, like we wouldn't pay them. So we got our first 2 workers like that, which one happens to be our store manager in Bessemer now.
Dope.
Yeah, he started out as like a junior in high school. Now
I love that. Okay.
Yeah, so we started out like that, and then my partner was trying to learn Spanish for some reason. I mean, that's good,
because Americans need to learn other languages. That is why.
That's good. But he hired a Hispanic guy in high school who came in one day, and he just started talking Spanish to us, just practicing. Dope. It's not really, because I had talked to like the Hispanic people, and they don't like that.
Okay, that was like, hey, bro, cut that out. You sound horrible. Like
he's trying to he didn't even say hey to him. He just started speaking Spanish as soon as he come in.
Okay.
Yeah,
because they're like, how you know I speak Spanish?
And then back then his Spanish was a little broken. He wasn't
how
fluid.
He is now. Yeah, okay. So can he speak fluid Spanish now?
Yeah, he good now.
You see why it was important for him to get started?
Yeah, but I'm saying all this to say he hired a Hispanic guy just to help him learn Spanish, but also to work with us too.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you. So you can smell.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it was,
And so the Hispanic guy, he was a super hard worker, and he asked him if he had friends like him, and he did. So he brought some more dudes on, which happened to be our store manager in Birmingham now.
I love that.
And then when the summer ended, the 2 guys from Bessemer, one left, but the one who's with us now, he asked if he could stay like longer because he liked the job. So we hired him on too.
Cool.
And that's how we started.
So it really was kind of like grassroots. Like as you grew one place, you were able to develop people, and then they were able to go on to the next thing. So I'm gonna ask some more questions from you, Rod, too, about because you work in the Birmingham location.
Yes.
So I'm gonna ask some more questions around culture. I might need some more time. Ask some more questions around culture. But the one of the last questions I have is, how did you know when it was time for you to be able to pull out the business? Because now you're not involved in the day-to-day. You just kind of manage the vision as you should, right? Which is our goal, to move from entrepreneur to owner to, right? So how did you determine like when it was time or when you could kind of pull back and just let things run?
So like I said, I started the first 5 months solo, open and close, 6 days a week, Foot Locker, the 7 day. Then once my partner came on, he stayed with me until like 5 p.m., but I would still be there from open to close. And that lasted for like a year, almost 2 years or so, until we hired the guys, but they weren't trained to do what we do, so I would still have to be there. But it got to a point where he saw me being like not even overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed, but he saw like our
you weren't
business.
getting the rest though.
I was young. It's different now.
Who needs
young,
but, okay.
He saw us growing. He saw how many people were coming in, and like on Sundays, I'd be the only one there, and I would be the one buying, checking out. Like it'd be 10 people in the store. I'd be checking somebody out. All right, hold on. Go over there.
Got
check
you.
somebody. All right, hold on. No, I was.
So you kind of spread thin. And that could impact your customer service, which you talk a lot about.
Facts. And I was working Sundays solo for probably close to a year, almost 2 years, until we start training the guys up to do what we do. But then, so he's a morning person. He would go up to like 5 a.m. every day. So he started coming from like open to like 4 or 5 p.m. and I started coming to close.
Yeah.
We started doing that for like 2 years. And then once the second store came, I would go the first half of the week, open to close, and he would go on weekends.
Got you.
And I would drive to Georgia every single week, which got super duper
exhausting.
Burnt out. So after a while, I got kind of burnt out. And I'll say once Birmingham came, that's when I kind of like started pulling away a little bit.
Yeah.
And then like not to do it full time, but just like to take a break.
Yeah.
And once I start feeling the like energy back to go back,
we
were like fully staffed, and I'd be in there and not have anything to
do. Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing.
It is, but at the same time, like we were talking about, it's like if you have a child and you raise your child and he goes off to college and he kind of doesn't need you no more. It's like a bittersweet feeling.
Your baby don't need you no more.
Right, like he's grown now, he's good, but. Yeah, it's bittersweet.
It's bittersweet, but I think too, it's a testament to the work ethic. It's a testament to the strategy. You know what I'm saying? It's a testament to what you've been able to build, because too, it gives you the space as a creative to think about where you want your business to go. I think most people don't even get that opportunity because all they do is work in it. And if you are stuck in the day-to-day, you can't figure out where's the next location or what's the next revenue stream you want to grow, or do we want to get into this or do brand partnerships? Like, you don't have time to think about that, right? So, I mean, I definitely hear you with it being like bittersweet, but I think too it's a testament. And ultimately, when you think about it, I'm sure Jeff Bezos is not itching and scratching to get on the Amazon warehouse floor.
Facts.
Yeah, he could care.
I mean, I'm good now. At first, it was kind of hard.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm good now. I'm straight.
I'm good now.
No, that's amazing. So. Okay, so you have these locations, and then you have amazing team, amazing support people, like Roddy.
Yes.
You still with us, Roddy?
Yes, I'm still with y'all. Still
So I'll just really quickly, with the time that we have left, I do want you to kind of share a little bit about, the day-to-day operations. Like, what is that like? I think it's important when we talk about you being able to step away. One of the things and one of the reasons why you can do that is because you have a team that can function properly, and you're not concerned about the heart of your organization crazy when you're not there. Because I think one of the things when you love your customers and love your business, it's important to you the experience they have.
Right.
And one of the reasons we want to be there because we want to make sure every person has the experience that we know they can. But you can step away because y'all manage that. So what is it like kind of ensuring that the culture stays intact as you're like building a team and you being a part of like the day-to-day operations?
You just got to stay on social media for starters. Can't live without our phones. So that plays a huge role. Just knowing what to buy. We have to study the market.
Okay.
We study StockX is the main shoe market, so we study that every day. We look at that every day. We buy inventory every day. You also have to have excellent customer service. So just being tenacious, just being kind to people, just catering to their needs. It's a lot that goes on, but we just stay locked in every day.
Yeah.
So I'm an associate, but I'm training up to be a buyer right now. So I'm on the floor making sure the customers are well taken care of. The buyers, they study the market. They know what to buy. They know what to turn down. And then we have our managers who they do a whole bunch. They wear a whole bunch of hats, inventory. Yeah. They help on the floor. So it's like a tier level, but we all come together and we all make it happen.
That's dope. I didn't even think about that. Obviously, there has to be, because one thing I too like to hone in on is systems. The way you can scale is you got to have a system. You have to know exactly what you're doing in one place and replicating that to another, right? So there's sales associates, there's buyers, and then there's managers.
Yes.
And so that's dope because those are like 3 areas that have to be covered. We got to have inventory. We need people buying the right things, utilizing the capital right, making sure that there needs to be someone managing our inventory and our stock, and then somebody ensuring that our customers are taken care of.
Right.
So that's too. I didn't even think about it. You're like, listen, this is no different than the New York Stock Exchange, baby. We up here studying what's going on. We studying the trends in the market.
Right.
And I think that's important to know your industry and to make sure like your people know the industry as well. So that's dope. Like, okay, so there's these 3 different facets. And then for you, right? And I told y'all before I was going to put y'all on the spot. So like for you, what was it about this company that made you say, you know what, like, I'm down. Like, I want to be a part of it. I want to grow because you're like, listen, I work as a sales now, but shoot, I want to train and learn how to be a buyer. What was it about this company and Chris and your partner T that made you buy into this vision?
It was just the camaraderie and the belief that everybody has. It just felt like home. Chris is an excellent leader, but he doesn't rule with an iron fist. Everybody's so supportive, and they let you know from the jump, hey, you're right here. But in this amount of time, you could be somewhere else. You could be running your own store. You could be a manager here and there. So the opportunity to grow and the camaraderie we have with each other is what inspired me to stay with the company, and it also made me want to work for them.
Yeah. Okay. So how did you learn about Memory Lane?
Word of mouth through a friend. Early 2019, I was working the Finish Line, and this random guy who was one of my closest friends now, he had these Converse on. I think they were like CDG Chucks. I was like, where did you get those? He was like,
okay, Paul, but what's a CDG? Don't be talking to me like that. Don't be talking to me like that, bro. Like I know what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Comrade, they got signed. It's a Japanese brand, but yeah.
Okay.
He had these shoes on, and I was like, where did you get those? And he was like, bro, have you heard of Memory Lane? And I'm like, nah. So he pulled up their Instagram. I checked them out, and I always stayed tapped in, but I never even thought about working there just because I was in school, and I didn't know if they were fully staffed. It just never dawned on me.
Yeah.
But that's how I found out about them early 2019, and I've always been into vintage sneakers and stuff like that. So that was right up my alley. I always bought from them. I didn't buy from them often, but with me being in school. But whenever I did have money, I did buy from them.
Yeah.
And then a couple months after I graduated college, which was last year.
Stop all that tapping before getting the microphone.
I was in between jobs, and they posted that they were hiring. And I knew that I always wanted to work there. So I trusted my gut. I took a chance. I was the first guy in there.
Yeah.
Had my resume. And in about 3 weeks, they called me back.
Okay.
They got me started.
And it's been up.
Yeah.
Y'all stuck.
Up and stuck.
I love that. That's dope. Again, I just think that, one, you even inviting one of your team members is a testament to what you all are building. Because of course, it started in your brain, but you know that it can't grow just with you, right? And so it's important for your people to know, like, listen, we all in this together. But then too, like, for you to be able to share openly, like, yo, I really dig what they're doing, and I see the opportunity for growth. I think that's pretty That's pretty amazing. How many, and I don't know, one of y'all, whoever knows answer, is how many employees do you have right now with your 3 locations?
I mean, it's close to 20, I believe.
Yeah, like 18 to 20.
20 people. Mm. That's fire.
Yeah.
That's fiery. But so
all are 24 or younger.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do you think that that's a part of your like team demographic and makeup? Like, do y'all look for people of a certain age?
Yes and no. Yes, because they know what's going on in our industry. They keep up with it.
Yeah.
Because people my age,
people who were born in 94.
Yeah, I mean, we're still in it, but not so much because shoes come out every week now, and it gets kind of like overwhelming to people.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Don't keep up with it as much as they did when they were younger. So, yeah.
Okay, cool. So y'all have 20 employees. That's amazing. Do you have, like, are there salary positions? Is everything hourly? Like, how does that work out?
So our sales associates are hourly, and our managers are salary.
That's dope. And again, I'm asking these questions because that's a big deal to have 3 locations, to have 20 employees, to have some salary and some hourly, because again, that talks to the point of cash flow, knowing that you can kind of manage those things. So that's dope. I appreciate y'all for taking the time. I have so many more questions. I might have to do a part 2 with you, talking about you don't like to talk. What are you talking about?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really like talking about myself in general. I feel weird even like taking compliments from people. I don't know. It just makes me
okay. Well, this is my masterclass. Hi, I'm Alicia. Let's stop that right now. Like, we're not about to do that. Like, it's important to be able to receive. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think too sometimes we're in a place where like we're constantly giving, but we don't know how to receive. Like, there's nothing wrong with a compliment. Just say thank you. With
me, I guess I got so much stuff that I want to do. Like this is just the beginning. So I'm
absolutely.
It's like I don't even thinking about what I've done. I'm thinking about what I'm want to do and what I'm doing and what I'm about to do.
Yes.
So
I agree. I think it's good to keep your mind focused, future forward. But I think it also is important because the work is just that. It takes work. It's important to take a moment and to stay in gratitude and be grateful for what you have right now, though.
I agree.
Because what you have right now was just a dream at one point.
Facts. I agree. Always.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So take the compliment, marvel in what you've been able to build. But, you know, one of my favorite movies is Love and Basketball. Don't be like Monica when she was like, you should just stay there. You remember that part? Don't be like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Don't be like that and stay stuck in the shot. You know what I'm saying? But do take a moment and just be like, man, look what we've done, and keep climbing. You know?
I agree.
So you can take compliments, and you did an awesome job. You did all that talking.
With that being said, our 4th location is on the way soon.
Okay, well, just
stay locked in.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, you gonna tell me where it's gonna be at, or is that?
I'll tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so I feel like Oprah.
I'll tell you.
Not on camera, you saying?
Yeah.
That kind of defeats the purpose, but I feel like I was Oprah getting an exclusive. You know, like she sat down with Megan. It won't be soon.
Like how?
I mean, you're like number 6, so I don't know. We're gonna release 2 a month, starting in what is this, March?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like in a few months.
Yeah.
I'll tell you then.
Okay, tell me.
Houston.
You're so cool.
Yeah. What's going down?
For you. Okay, so how are you gonna staff that one? Like, how do you just have a?
So we're moving our store manager from the Georgia store and our store manager from Bessemer, who was the guy that started out as a high school intern. He's going with him, and our assistant manager in Bessemer.
So they start. That makes sense. So you start there. Oh, don't tap the table.
Okay.
So you start there, and so you start in Houston, but you take your people to train to get started there, and they go ahead and recruit while they're there. Get everybody situated, and they can come back home.
Right.
That's dope.
I'm gonna go for to start.
Of course, you're going because you want to go to Houston.
I don't really like Houston. I like Dallas. I don't really care for Houston like that.
I'm saying people might beat you up.
I know. I hate how you say that.
I hate each other. Let's recant that. He loves look in the camera.
I love Houston.
You love Houston.
Each time.
Tell him how much you love them. So amazing. Please come to memory lane. We love you as a city. Okay, that's dope.
I'm more chill and laid back, so Houston is not.
They be too turned. So you want to go to Palm Springs, Florida? What you say? You want to go down to the Panhandle? You want to go?
Some chill, like
with the retired.
I don't mind that. Yeah.
I don't have time to play with you. Okay.
You're old, you know.
Because you were born in 94.
Exactly.
I just can't even. That's almost too close to like Y2K. Like anybody who talked to me, they're like, "Yo, I was born in 2001." I'm like, what?
Yeah, see, that's different.
Is it?
Yeah, that's different. Way different.
All right, man. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for coming. Thank you so much for sharing of your time. Thank you for being honest and sharing of your story. Thank you for inviting Rod to be with us. Thank you for sharing, Rod.
Thank you for having us.
And yeah, we appreciated this conversation. We want to see more from you, hear more from you. So I know you don't want to be outside the streets, but it's official. You're outside. So we outside. I'm putting you outside. And I want you to know that I will gladly come to Houston to support and do whatever you need to do.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, I'm great with systems operations and consulting.
Okay. Keep it in mind.
Gang.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. This is another episode of the How Do I Do This podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Joining us today, Chris Smoot. All right. Rod, what's your last name, Rod?
Rodney Cooper is my
cousin. Rodney Cooper. Hey, Rodney Cooper with us from Memory Lane. Yeah, man. Visit them in their Bessemer location, their Douglasville location, and their Birmingham location, and their 4th location coming soon. It's up. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Peace.